Welcome back to another episode of Design with Me. I love creating these videos so much because it gives me the chance to show you kind of a practical use of different tools that I use in marketing, but also for design. In previous episodes of this series, I've worked on my personal e-commerce brand, Enkel's website, as well as some other things that I use in my personal projects. In this episode though, we are going to be doing our first speculative design together. Spec work or speculative work is any sort of creative work that's been done for a potential client free of charge in hopes that you will win the bid for the project and to get paid for it after the fact. Usually, if a potential client is considering multiple agencies or multiple freelancers, speculative work is essentially like the resume that you put forward to show them, okay, this is how I envision this project to happen, so they can get a really good idea of your skills, your design thinking, and whether your overall vibe meshes with the brand's vibe. I will say I can't always recommend you doing any sort of free work, so make sure if you do go this method of creating spec work for clients, that you have some sort of an agreement in place so that your clients can't use the designs unless they do decide to go with your agency or you as a freelancer and pay you for that work. I would also put your watermark on the work so it can't be copied by the client. Spec work is another great way for you to just beef up your portfolio. I know sometimes it can be daunting creating a portfolio for marketing or for design because it's like, how do I show that I can do work for companies without actually having done work for companies? Spec work is totally the answer to that. It allows you to really get creative with projects, create your entire own creative brief around a brand, and just showcase what you can actually do and your skills in that field. I wanted to especially start doing spec work in my Design With Me series because I wanted to show you more practical uses of how to use different design tools or mood boarding tools like Milanote or today's design tool, which is Readymag, for your upcoming projects in hopes that you can use these videos as ideas to what you can work on for your spec work projects. I think it would be really fun if you took the creative brief from this video, which I've linked in a doc in the description, and created your version of the product. I do also have a Discord community for this channel, so if you want to post your designs there, I would love to see what you come up with. So in this video, we'll be building a landing page for a wellness brand for their upcoming campaign. In celebration of the launch of their new product, Emotional Support Drops, the brand will be giving away a free tote for the first 100 people who sign up for their newsletter to learn about the launch. To create this landing page for our imaginary client, we'll be using Readymag, which is the sponsor of today's video. Readymag is my current favorite browser-based design tool. It's this super powerful and robust tool that feels like it's truly been made for designers and creators. There are no layout restrictions, and it has this WYSIWYG attitude. So you can actually use it to easily create websites, editorials, presentations, and landing pages for the web without any coding knowledge. It also has insane advanced features like these no-code animations that are so easy to use and truly give your digital product this super professional feel. There's also over 5,000 free fonts that you can use and even has built-in analytics, so it really allows you to bring any creative vision to life. I'm also going to be showing you how it's the perfect tool for working with potential clients or collaborating with a team because it has really cool features like commenting and layout locking. Layout locking is especially great because it means that you can give a product to your client and allow them to edit it, like change out the text, change out the images without messing with the actual layout of your website, landing page, or editorial. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into this design with me. So let's first take a look at our Milanote board. So the client that we're working with is a brand called Citrus. They are a wellness brand that has created this product called Emotional Support Drops. Essentially, it's just a water enhancer in some really fun flavors that has collagen, electrolytes, and just some other added benefits that not only makes your water taste better, but also makes it healthier as well. The brand personality is fun, girly, clean girl aesthetic, but also more of that Gen Z colorful vibe. Since it is going into spring, we're doing that really fun spring vibe for this campaign. These 4 colors are the brand colors that I sort of envisioned. So like this lovely coral color, this peachy orangey color, this gorgeous light lime green color, and this last color is this really lovely muted green color. I've created the product assets already, so what the label will look like, what the droppers will look like, as well as some brand assets. We have tons of fun, bright colors. I really loved this whole like fruits in the shopping bag sort of look with the grid. So I thought about incorporating something like that. And then I really love this illustration of the fruit basket with the peaches as well. So I created a brand asset that looks like that, but with the fruits from this campaign. For website inspo, I took pretty much all the ones with these light pastel, muted but bright colors. And then I love how this Moonwood landing page looked with the gradient. So I do really want to do something like that as well. So let's go ahead and dive into creating a new Readymag project. With the Readymag tool, you are able to add an image or a color to the background, but we're going to add some custom CSS just to make this gradient background. Another way that you can do this is actually to create a gradient within Photoshop or Figma and then import it as an image. But I'm also going to show you the CSS way and put the code in the description box below in case you wanted to add a gradient to your background as well. So what I've done here is actually just add a shape. I've added a rectangle shape, but stretched it out so it's the length of the entire page as well as the width. Then I go into the inspect tool within my browser and I pull the element ID. You'll find it under data ID. It'll be a string of numbers. Copy that number, go into the CSS code editor, and you just want to type in the string of code. Insert your data ID into that spot, and then just adjust the colors. For me personally, I wanted it to go from white to that lovely lime green color, so I just changed the hex code so it matches the brand colors. When you do add a gradient code like this, you won't be able to see it in the editor, but once you hit preview, you'll see the element is gradient as we've set it in the CSS. Next, let's drag in all of the elements that we've designed. So I've built this little C logo with a little tangerine. Since this is a landing page, we're not going to be adding any navigation to it because we don't want the user to be able to navigate away from this, like onto our main site, for example, because the purpose of this landing page is really just to teach you about the launch of the product, give you some product information, and allow you to sign up for the newsletter to get the free tote. I'm turning on Snap in my builder, so it's really easy for me to align the items, whether it's center or whether it's along another item. You can also add guides and grids, which are really helpful when you're trying to design something that is very symmetrical. For the product image, I actually created an image mask so that it fits within this really cute sort of floral shape. And then I cut out the background of the tote as well so that it can sit on top of the product image. So let's preview that and see how that looks along our gradient background. To add a title, all you have to do is click add text, and then you can go into the text editor and see all of the different fonts that are available to you within Readymag. So they actually have all the Google fonts as well as the Adobe Kit fonts, which gives you pretty much over 5,000 fonts to choose from. I can spend so much time just browsing these fonts, but I quickly just went through and picked some that I think are very readable but still sort of stylized so it matches the overall vibe of the brand. Once I picked a font, I started to lay out the hierarchy of my typography, so how big I wanted the title to be compared to the actual subtext under it. And this is sort of where I landed. When I'm going through a design like this, I always hit the preview button just to see how it's looking with that gradient background and without any other distractions on the page. And it just gives me a better idea of what the final product is going to look like, as well as whether or not I like how I've spaced things out. Next, we're going to add in some of the other assets that I've created. So I was thinking, since we have this really fruity theme going on, I wanted to put the fruit basket at the bottom of the page and the other fruit elements sort of laid out across the page, so as you're scrolling, it looks like the fruits are falling down into the fruit basket. To import photos, all you have to do is drag and drop them from your computer, which I love. I find that with other design tools, sometimes you have to place it, and importing images can be a bit more complicated. So the drag and drop function here is super crucial for me for my workflow and efficiency. There's just little things about design tools like this that really help with my productivity and that once you start using them for a while, you really learn to appreciate. For the fruits themselves, I wasn't quite sure how I was gonna lay them out, so I just sort of dragged them around the page, see how they looked under text, over text, laid on top of other elements, and moved them around so that they looked sporadic, but still somewhat symmetrical and even throughout the page. So the last thing that's missing from this above the fold section is the sign up form. So we're going to go in and add a form element. I love using their form element, pretty much all of their elements, because they just make it so easy for you to customize how you want that element to look and feel. For example, you can choose between stacked on top of each other or sort of aligned all within one line. You can choose the sizing, the height, the weight, the width of each section of the form, as well as obviously the background color, the border stroke, and all of that. Okay, so now it's time to work on what goes underneath that above the fold section. Everything that you have above the fold is going to be the most critical information that you are trying to get across to your website visitors. So the main call to action and information should obviously sit above the fold. For this specific landing page, I did want to add some supplementary content as well, but I wanted to do it in a really visually pleasing way. So we're gonna see what other elements Readymag offers that we can add that'll just make this page pop and stand out amongst other website pages. Readymag recently added presets, which are pre-designed elements for you to add to your site to really make your site more visually stimulating. It's also a great way just to ease your creative routine and really make designing sites more efficient and productive for you as a creative. In their presets, you can find buttons, advanced widgets, shots, pop-ups, slideshows, forms, headers, and even footers. So the element that I think I'm gonna add as a preset is the running line of text. I've seen this used in so many websites and I absolutely love how it looks and how it just brings this extra sense of fluidity to the site as you're scrolling through it. I changed the text so that the font matches what I've chosen for the text above, and you can see it actually says to command plus or minus to customize it. And essentially what it's telling you is if you zoom out, you'll be able to see all the text that it has within the running line. So when you actually zoom out like this, you can see exactly what it says and just type out what you want it to say. So for this website personally, I wrote emotional support drops, supporting your wellness one drop at a time. To make this running line a little longer and just to make sure that it loops through really smoothly, I actually just copied this slogan in twice so that as it's looping through, it seems a lot more connected. Something else that I created for the site are these little symbols that signify some of the benefits and features of the emotional support drops. I essentially just looked at other water enhancers and saw what they've highlighted as main sort of like benefits or exclusions from their product that they find important to point out. I think whenever you are working on a project like this for a potential client, you should definitely look at other competitors in their field to see what they're doing and what they're highlighting, especially competitors that are bigger players in the field, because typically they have already done the work for you. They've gone out and done the market research, they've tested it, they've interviewed and spoken to their community and audience. So if you share a similar target audience or similar potential buyer audience, a lot of the messaging can be reused for your purposes as well. For these water drops, I saw that a lot of them point out that they are vegan friendly, gluten-free, sugar-free, preservative-free, no diet sweeteners, and are kosher. So I took the same idea and just drew out some icons on Procreate on my iPad and added them as icons on the site so that we can show and feature some of these exclusions and benefits, but in this really cute and raw way. I think the hand-drawn icons actually really suits this brand and some of the other elements that we've created, and I think it's gonna work a lot better for the overall aesthetic rather than doing sort of typical illustrated icons. I think that is actually the perfect next piece to go under the above the fold section, because those are the next critical pieces of information that would help sell that specific product. All right, so let's wrap up the site and figure out what other pieces of product information I want to add here. Since this is a landing page, we don't want to overload your website visitors with information, because as I had mentioned, landing pages should just have one purpose and typically just one call to action. The purpose of this landing page is to announce the launch and get people to sign up for the newsletter. So I think another great piece of information that we can add here is just more supporting content around the actual product itself. We are making the assumption that the people who are landing on this page are coming from a specific ad campaign that you are running maybe on your social media. This means that it typically will be people who are already semi-familiarized with your brand. If you think about how you come across ads on social media, you typically won't see an ad that says sign up for a newsletter and get this free thing. Click into it and just sign up. There's sort of this in-between step when you make social media advertisement where you expect people to visit your brand page first just to see if they are liking what the brand is all about. I think that's something that we're really learning as marketers more and more, is that consumers these days want to feel a connection with the brands that they are buying from. So keeping this assumption in mind, I don't think we need to add so much brand information or too much product information on this page, but I do want to include enough that if somebody lands here without knowing anything about the brand, they're still able to get a very good idea of what the brand is about, what the product does, and are able to see if they connect with the brand visually via the assets and the style that we've used. Most designers will tell you about the importance of white space, so I really played around with this section to make sure that I left enough white space so that the overall website aesthetic doesn't look cluttered, even though we are putting so many of these fun visual elements onto the page. I really loved the placement of the fruits, but I decided to actually add some additional animations to the fruits as well. So I clicked each of the fruits, hit the animation button within Readymag, and I wanted these animations to happen on scroll. You can actually choose on load, on click, on scroll as the trigger point to when your animations happen. But when you pick on scroll, as you're scrolling through the site, it'll start cycling through whatever animation you choose. I thought it would be really fun for the fruits to rotate as you scroll down the page. So I did that for all 3 fruits, just so there were more moving elements on the page that stimulated your eyes and guided your reading down the page. Before we moved on to my favorite part, which is showing you the final product, I wanted to quickly go through how Readymag works when you are collaborating with a team or with a client. So I'm going to share this with another email that I have just for demonstration purposes, so I can show you what the layout locking looks like if you are giving the site to a client, for example. So you can see when you view the site as a client, if the designer has layout locked your website, you're actually unable to move things around, meaning all of the elements of the site will remain where they are. However, you can actually go in and change the text as well as the images without affecting anything else on the site. This means you don't have to worry as a designer that your client will accidentally break anything on the site, which I think is so smart, because the amount of times I've given, let's say, a WordPress site to a client and they've accidentally deleted elements or moved things around, resulting in more hours of work for me, has happened too many times to count. The commenting feature, where you are able to leave notes along the website, is also another super helpful function if you are collaborating with a client or with a team. They can also tag you in the comment to let you know that this specific task is assigned to you. So when I go back to my account, you can see the comments really easily all in this little notification tab, and it'll show you exactly where the comment is left. So there can be no misunderstanding about what element they are asking you to edit or change. Here is the final landing page. You can see all of the different elements that we've added to it. Something else that I did end up adding last minute is this custom cursor. It's super easy to do, and you can choose to assign a custom cursor that only shows when you point over a specific element, or a general one that shows over the entire site. I actually really loved how the gradient background ended up looking. I think that having a gradient on the background of your site is another great way to guide users down the page. And it's these little visual things that people don't usually take notice of, but that actually subconsciously helps them get through the content in a way that you intend. I love how this webpage turned out, and it was honestly the easiest webpage I have ever built. I'm actually going to put the link of this webpage in the description box below, so you're actually able to click into it and see what it looks like as a webpage within your browser as well. On the free plan for Readymag, you're actually able to publish one free project on a Readymag domain as well. So if you wanted to go ahead and create an account and try it out for yourself, you can absolutely go and do that. If you're considering Readymag for your next design project and just want to learn a little bit more about the tool and what you can do, I highly recommend going and checking out their Learn pages, because there is so much great educational content on there that really shows you all of the features that Readymag has, as well as some custom features like adding in CSS code for that gradient background, for example. They even include the actual code snippet that you would need to add to the code editor, so you really don't have to do any extra work. If you're looking to use some of their paid features, such as their forms, they do offer some really flexible plans as well. Their pricing structure is laid out so you can just pay for the number of published projects that you need. But as I already mentioned, you can also try out Readymag totally for free without a credit card. You can literally just jump in and start using their design tool, and you can have a published project totally free on their own Readymag domain. I also do have a referral link in the description, which has a special discount for just my audience. The discount applies on all the Readymag plans, so no matter what level of plan you need, you can use it for your first time purchase when you are ready to upgrade. All right, I think that is everything for this episode of Design With Me. This has been one of the most fun projects that I've worked on in a long time. Let me know if you enjoyed this episode of Design With Me. As I mentioned, I wanted to do something different and sort of have it be an interactive thing where we can share ideas for this specific spec project. I do have the link for my Discord server listed in the description box below, so if you want to join the community and send through your design so that we can see it, I would absolutely love to see what you came up with. But other than that, I hope you guys are having an amazing day wherever you are in the world, and I will see you in my next video.